David Maulsby, and I'm going to have David introduce himself so you guys will know what he does. Because if I talk, you're probably not going to know what I said. So,
well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. David Maulsby, Executive Director of PTSD Foundation of America. We have a residential program that we call Camp Hope, and we're excited to be here with you today and talk about what's coming up here next month.
I'm really excited too. I mean, what I'm going to be doing is I had heard about this probably 4 years ago. I write a little poetry and stuff, and I sent you a poem I wrote about this, but I just thought it was unfathomable that to hear that 22 soldiers take their lives every day. I didn't think it could even be possible, and I have a good friend, and her brother had taken his life. He had come back from overseas and was in the military, in the Army, and Michael, and he took his life. And suicide is something that's affected a lot of my friends and people, and just something I really felt dear to heart about. I still, if you can expand on it, would just be, it seems, just unreal, these guys going overseas or wherever they're going to really help us and come back here and have to face this depression or PTSD.
Yeah, it's such a difficult and complex thing that leads to, as you mentioned, your friend, and then the impact of that, because everybody that knows someone that dies by suicide, everyone feels guilt about it. Everyone, this sense of loss that's really indescribable. And to think that it happens so often, the statistic that's famous or well-known, infamous really, is the 22 a day. But you stop and try to, what does that mean? And what does that look like? And we're dealing with guys coming home who have been so empowered, so well-trained, so finely tuned. And then they go and they face the most evil people on the planet, the most evil place on the planet. They see the most awful atrocities, and then they come home, and it's such a disconnect from what they've been experiencing, the importance they feel and who they are and the self-purpose, and then they just lose all that when they come home. And oftentimes it just becomes a pretty quick self-defeating spiral downward. They start isolating. The anger gets out of control. Often they're self-medicating. They don't want to ask for help because that looks weak, and it scares people. And the truth of the matter is about PTSD and the numbers is, one, PTSD, first of all, is not a new thing. It's a new term, but we've always had it. You look at our Vietnam guys, you look in years past, there was shell shock, there was the 1,000-yard stare. There were so many different names that were given to something that was very similar to PTSD.
Yeah, not until recent years, but I hear even, post-traumatic. I hear it in other life trials and tribulations. I hear that too.
Well, all of us, lived for a minute, have had some type of trauma in our life, multiple traumas. So anybody can have PTSD, but in our veteran community, we think about post 9/11, the guys going to Iraq and Afghanistan, and we had parades for them when they came home. People would line the streets when they would come home. And then when someone would come home in a flag-draped coffin, people again would line the streets and salute. We lost about 7,200 of our men and women in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan, which is a staggering number. It's a lot of young men and women. We've lost more than 4 times that to suicide since coming home. More than 30,000 who served in our military wore our uniform.
I just can't believe that. It's unfathomable. It's just unbelievable.
Well, it's unacceptable.
It is.
For it to not be more of a conscious conversation in our country. What's going on, and why aren't we reaching out to these men and women?
I was just going to say, how do we get to? I'm not the sharpest tack on the box, but how would you get proactive about this? And is the VA? I don't know that. The chain of command or how this works, but thank for Camp Hope and places where they could go and have places where if they could talk about it. I know. With me, it helps talking to other people about it. Getting it out there really helps,
Absolutely, and that's our entire basis of our program, a faith-based peer-to-peer. So it's one vet helping the next vet.
Okay.
So one guy's come through our program, turn around, helping the next guy come through our program, because nobody understands that trauma like someone who has also been through that trauma,
Right.
has suffered the results of PTSD, but has also regained their life and now have a life that many times I hear them say it's more purposeful than even when they were in the military, which is staggering. But I tell folks that the first thing anyone needs to do is just get educated, get informed about what's happening and what it looks like.
When when I first heard about this, I just I thought it was a mistake or something to that effect. And you look it up and you fact check it. It's just unreal. And looking at the basis of it, these people, these men, these women, they're going over and fighting for our freedom, and I just feel that it just to come home to that would just seem, And one of the things I was thinking about before is that also for me, not ever comparing myself to that, but is that regimentation. I knew how to get up, I had to work out, I had to do stuff. Sometimes it's just so different when you come home, or for me, not doing my sport anymore. It's really, it's just there was something to be said for that regimentation. You knew what you're doing at this time, that time. I wonder if that has an effect on the guys too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're in a very structured environment in the military. Understand chain of command, understand directions, follow directions, and just do it. And they come home and they're in this world now where it just seems like there are no rules.
Yeah.
And it's a great disconnect that happens there. But it's interesting, to help people understand. One of the first stories I ever saw on PTSD that opened my eyes to what was happening was about a guy named Sergeant Blaylock, and he's actually, the New York Times did a great story on him, and people can still Google it. It's still out there. A New York Times story on Sergeant Blaylock. He came home, PTSD, went to the VA, just all kinds of troubles, multiple medications, got tired of the medications, and it just became this terrible spiral, and ends up, his story, he's in an apartment with his girlfriend, and he's just completely losing his mind, pulls out a weapon, puts it to his head, and blows his brains out in front of his girlfriend and the trauma that she projected on him. And you think, how does this happen? And it happens more than 20 times every single day in our country.
It's just crazy. I think there should be some more, once again, it's me saying, but I think there should be some more urgency per se. It's just, these guys are giving the ultimate sacrifice, and to come over here and then to not be in combat situation and take their lives. It's just they're facing such trials and tribulations over there, and then they come over here and take their lives here. It just seems I can't believe it.
It's tragic beyond words. I don't know how to say it. Through these last about 12 years that I've been doing what I do with the foundation, I don't know how. Well, it's just it's an honor in so many ways, and I've had to deal with so many families that reached out to us after their son became a statistic, and then try to, help them get the help that they need, try to support them, and try to use that opportunity to bring awareness in a respectful way to their loved one that they lost. But it's so many families have been affected by this.
I keep harping on it, but I just think that, to bring awareness, but I just think people, I don't know if they can't believe it or wouldn't even, that just don't know, or just, it's, could you think about that percentage in any other, I think policemen, they have a high rate of suicide too, but I just can't imagine if in another profession that this was that prevalent. I just can't imagine that people, wouldn't take note. But thank you again for doing this. Geez, and I told you my thing, I'm just going to be, boxing 22 rounds with some guys, a bunch of guys from my other gym downtown too, with Bobby Benton, and it'll be fun. They're going to pay $1,000 a round to beat me up, so they probably pay more to beat me up, but anyway, so it'll be good. Hopefully I won't get beat up too bad.
Well, I'm thankful. Oh, no. I'm also thankful I don't have to step in the ring and take it. Like, that wouldn't go well at all. But we are so honored by what you're doing.
It's the other way around. I'm honored that I could do something like this. And hopefully everything's going to go great. And I just would love to keep. We had done a boxing match for you guys too a while back, and that worked out really well. So maybe we can do another one of those too. So, but thank you so much for coming in here, and I know you're busy. And David, if somebody wants to contribute to the PTSD Foundation or donate, how would they do that?
Yeah, so the best way for people to get in touch with us, social media, everybody's on social media.
Yeah.
Everything we are, PTSD USA,
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, PTSD USA. Our website is ptsdusa.org. Donation link is very easy to find, very simple process.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you said everybody. I'm still a little bit. I'm not the best about the whole tech thing. Is still catching up to me. But I did get my VCR stop blinking. So
There you go.
Things are looking
progress.
Up. That's right.
We
That's
like
right.
progress.
Progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection. Absolutely.
I'm going to catch up with the rest of the world one of these days. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to catch up with it?
I have my 10-year-old daughter. She's my tech consultant. She's like, "Daddy, oh my goodness!" She gets frustrated just watching me. It's painful.
It'll happen.
Oh, it'll
happen.
or not.
And that'll be okay too.
Thanks again, David. I really appreciate it.